Yo, YouTube, this is Founder Files, and this is the second episode of 2026. Each week I sit down and I share a win, a challenge, a lesson, and anything that's top of mind for me as I navigate life and business in my 20s. And I do this not because I have it all figured out, but because reflection is how you figure things out. These videos are visual diary entries, a place for me to slow down, to reflect, and to tell the truth about the things that are going on in my world, in business and in life. If any of this helps you feel a little more grounded, like it does for myself, then to me it's worth recording, and that's exactly the reason that I make these videos. So we'll kick it off with the win of the week. My win this week has been a reminder of something simple but super powerful, and that is that your inputs determine your outputs. Where you choose to direct your energy is where you will see momentum in your life. In the second half of last year especially, most of my energy went into personal pursuits, and truthfully, honestly, it was the most personally rewarding time of my life. It was genuinely the greatest time of my life, and I don't think it's going to be topped anytime soon. But like any pendulum, when it swings hard in one direction, that means that something else loses balance. And for me last year and leading into 2026, that was business. Honestly, looking back on that, it was quite confronting, because since I was 19, business has essentially been what my life revolved around. It became a reflection of me. I was my business was me. And it consumed all of my time, my identity, and my self-worth. And throughout that time, since I was 19 to where I am now, 24, I never actually paused to ask, who am I without the work that I do? What do I actually enjoy doing? And what kind of impact do I actually want to make? Slowing down unintentionally exposed a lot about me and a lot of my flaws. And even though that was incredibly uncomfortable, it was equally rewarding, and I am beyond grateful for that. I genuinely think that clarity lives on the other side of pause. And this past week, I redirected my energy back into work fully and deliberately, and almost immediately, I saw the momentum begin to pick up and start flowing again. Opportunities presented themselves, conversations opened up, small wins stacked on top of some honestly very difficult days behind the desk, questioning everything I was doing and I have done in my entire life. And I'll be honest, I'm not where I want to be professionally, not even close. But this week I was reminded of something important, and that is that I'm good at what I do, and people need the service that I provide. And not only do they need the service that I provide, they trust in me to help them bring their visions and their ideas to life. And that is an incredible thing. And now, as I sit here and I talk about this, I've come to realize that the awareness that I've gained from slowing down is such an amazing thing, because now I get to make a conscious effort to close the gaps in areas where I know I underperform. And whilst that is a scary thing to do, to look straight into the eyes of the things you're not good at, I think it is where the most growth happens. And I touched on this last week, and I'll reiterate the fact, but the more you confront the difficult things, the less confronting they become. So this one was a reminder to myself, and maybe to you too, but your inputs determine your outputs. Your outputs are a direct reflection of the inputs that you put in. So choose them wisely, and once you've chosen them, actively pursue working on them tirelessly. Okay, moving on to the challenge of the week. And this one's interesting. I want to have a conversation now about time, standards, and dissatisfaction, because the challenge for me this week has been time management. There is so much that I want to do, and I hold myself to an incredibly high standard that getting everything done feels impossible at times. And when something sits on my list and it doesn't get done, I feel it. The dissatisfaction can be really loud, and I've realized something interesting in the past week. Dissatisfaction isn't always a flaw. It's often a signal, and if anything, it's quite a powerful creative state, but there's a very fine line between it being good and it being bad. For me, dissatisfaction is the mind saying, this isn't it yet. In many ways, I think that dissatisfaction is a catalyst for creativity because it pushes you to question things, it pushes you to refine things and to reinforce things, but it also encourages you to refuse mediocrity. I don't think that the danger is dissatisfaction itself. It becomes a problem if you let the dissatisfaction turn into self-punishment. One of the things that I'm focused on right now, and Emily and I had a discussion about this week, was decision fatigue and eliminating decisions that take up time. I've started this week simplifying where I can and allocating and delegating and trying to be more intentional with my time. And I'm definitely still working on it, but I do believe that this challenge, the challenge of dissatisfaction, can become a strength. If I learn to carry high standards with a calm mind and a steady smile always. I do think that the feeling of dissatisfaction is a blessing and a curse, but as any business owner watching this would know, that is the game that we've chosen to play, and that is one of the many things that comes with it. Okay, moving on to the lesson of the week. And the lesson this week was to make things exist. Just make it exist first and you can make it good later. And that's actually a quote that I put on my vision board for 2026. I think it's something that I've struggled with a lot, and I decided that enough was enough and I wanted to make that change. This week, I made things exist. I launched a new offer for founders in my immediate circle, and I'll be honest, it's not polished, it's not perfect, but it's definitely real. And for a long time, I sat and thought about the offer, and I was thinking, is this needed? Will it work? Is it valuable? And the entire time I was thinking about all of those things, nothing was happening and nothing was moving. And that's the thing that I've come to realize, is that ideas don't change lives and they don't make an impact. Actions do. Now, some people might make the argument that bad foundations lead to ruin, and they're not wrong. But what I believe more strongly is that if you make it real, then you can refine it later. And on the other hand, a perfect idea that never leaves your mind is only going to die inside your mind. So the takeaway here is that action beats perfection. If you've been sitting on something, an idea, a thought, something that you feel like the world would benefit from, then I ask you, please get it out into the world. Let it breathe, let it be criticized, and then make it better. Go on a mission to continuously refine that thing, improve that concept, that idea, that vision inside your head, because I promise you that progress will always outperform endless planning. And here's the thing I've been thinking about this week, and it's about responsibility, richness, and building beyond yourself. I think it's incredibly important to give yourself credit for how far you've come, but it's also extremely important to not forget that it is on you to get yourself to where you want to get to. Nobody else is going to do the work. Lately, I've been thinking about responsibility more than ever. And I definitely think that marrying Emily in the back end of last year has absolutely amplified that. And I think that's a powerful and a beautiful thing to be thinking about responsibility as much as I am, as young as I am, because I now know that my decisions don't just affect me anymore. They have such a bigger impact on everything that goes on within my world, and not just my world right now, but my world in 10 years' time, in 20 years' time, in 40 years' time. That's what my decisions affect, and they're the decisions that I'm thinking about as I move into this next chapter of my life. To close out the episode, I read something this week on Instagram from a guy named Jay Yang, and what he said, I'll read it to you now. I want to be rich, I'll admit it, but not so I can buy a Rolex or a Lamborghini. I want to be rich so I can control my time and I can go to the gym at 3 p.m. on a Tuesday. So I can sit at a cafe and order breakfast without looking at the price. So my wife and my parents don't have to worry about money or getting a job. So I can travel freely and show my kids the world. So I can take my friends out to dinner and say, don't worry, it's on me. That's my idea of a rich life. Money isn't the goal. It's a tool to live a deeper, more fulfilling, adventurous life. And I could not agree more. And I genuinely think that that's the chapter that I'm in now. A chapter where I'm building for a future that's so much bigger than me. That is all from me this week. If something here resonated, Please take it with you and apply it to your life however you see fit. And as always, thank you for being here, and I will see you in the next one.